Hello, and welcome to whatever episode we're on of Scaling an Electrical Company.
5 or 6.
I think it's like 7. Whatever. My name is Jessie. I am the owner, CEO, and networking queen of Super Sun Electric.
And I am Gabe. I'm the master electrician and sales guy.
And today we are in sort of a reflective mode where we are a year and a half into business, 6 months out, 7 months out of our kind of failure point. Restructure, restart.
Failure is quitting.
Come to Jesus moment, whatever you want to call it.
I think technically it's called a
Restructure, whatever.
But the reset point.
Anyhow, we're 7 months out from that, and are on that growth pattern now, and we just had an immensely eventful month and felt like now was a good time to kind of review what the hell just happened.
Yeah, because again, most of this podcast is probably not for you, and there's a lot more for us. Still share it with friends, but a lot of this is as we become ideally bigger and more successful, and our problems grow with that because that's what happens. That what seemed like kind of a large speed bump the last couple of months, which I still think we handled well.
Yeah.
Is just like a fucking Tuesday. And the amount of money that we had to spend that hurt but was doable is just like a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
And remembering the story of what it exists now is going to be so very different at that point in time that like I could be wrong, but I feel like we're going to just unintentionally downplay how much of an issue it was.
Which is the whole reason we have this podcast, is for us to document right now in the middle of these lessons the weight of it.
Yeah.
Because later on, your brain will tell the story in the perspective that you are in then.
Yeah.
Reflecting back on what happened now.
And like you might be able to remember how you felt, but it's still going to be shaped by your experiences going forward, right? Like it's still like the brain doesn't actually remember perfectly, regardless of who you are or what you think you are. Like it is shaped by your perspective, and then also usually just remembers the positive stuff and not the negative stuff. That's why you're willing to go back to your shitty ex. Like legitimately, like you remember all of the positive stuff, and you're like, oh man, there's because like you're constantly wanting that connection with other humans, and like if you don't have that, your brain just starts to convince you that like, no, it's pretty cool. Like I know that guy's a piece of shit, but I mean, maybe he wasn't, or she wasn't, whichever way you swing. Who cares?
But yeah, we've had a hell of a month. Today's May 3rd today, and April was insane. So,
yeah, it was lots of fun.
Gosh, what happened? Where do you want to start?
All good stories do.
That was so ominous.
That's what I was going for. Glad that landed. No, May started off. April. May started off well. Actually, phenomenal. Absolutely love it. But April started off similar to most other months. We were booked out a little bit. We were looking at how we needed to grow. At that point in time, we'd been looking at our P&L and realizing that our accountant was accounting for way more of that than what they should have, which we'd recognized in March. The month's right. Yeah, March comes before April. Calendars are not my strong suit. That's her job. But in March, we realized like, hey, this bill is not appropriate because going back to when we had to reset, basically put everything on a credit card, trying to make things happen. Way overmaxed it out, actually. Turns out you can do that. Not recommended, but you can do that. So we had like $24,000 on a $12,000 credit card. Nice. We also owed our supply houses a decent amount of money in our world, probably not in the overall contracting world,
It's
but
probably about $20,000
yeah. So we owed about $46,000 ish to people. And over the last 6 months, we've been really diligent about basically crediting towards that, making sure that we're paying it off, being intentional with paying that off.
Also, being really intentional about not taking a $20,000 or $30,000 lump sum and sending that all off.
Yeah, and like
being really intentional about keeping the cash in our world and paying incrementally.
Yeah, controlling the money and controlling the cash flow.
Another lesson that we've been learning,
which we should talk about, because I'm like realizing that other people don't do that nearly to the same level, and we should really talk about that lesson.
They all need a John. John is our financial advisor. Yeah. He's the best forever.
John Hersey is the fucking dude. If you're not working with him, you're fucking up.
Apparently, this is an ad for John.
Yeah. Not paid for by John in any way, shape, or form, but definitely fucking use him. He is absolutely the best person in the world for this shit, and is going to tell you how it
I'm going to tag him in this post.
Fucking do it. Like, he fully deserves it, and is a lot of the reason why we were able to tell this story.
Go John.
So, that aside, went through and we're paying that off diligently, protecting cash flow, controlling the flow of money intentionally. Because we have built it to the point where we are able to pay off what we owe in a lump sum, we would just be left with almost no cash, which is stupid. It's kind of like shooting yourself in the lung to breathe better. Doesn't make sense, but technically you have more holes going to your lungs, so theoretically could breathe better. Okay. So we were doing that, tracking what we owed, and we had an accounts payable sheet that we tracked, and our accountants showed us. And in the beginning of March, the accounts payable was still $46,000.
Now we have not put any other expenses on the credit card.
Nope. We have not touched the credit card outside of like moving it from one slot in the wallet to the other.
Yeah.
We've been super diligent about paying that off, paying it off. We've paid off our supply houses. Now we've added stuff to that because we've still been doing work and all of that, but not nearly to the same level that we had. And so our calculated stuff was like the amount that I had in my head was around $22,000 ish, for what I owed people, because I like to keep all of that in my head. Stupid, not recommended. She puts it all on paper, so it's fine. Spreadsheets are good. Don't keep it in your head. It's fucking dumb. I need to learn that lesson incredibly well. I just have been rewarded heavily in the past for keeping it in my head. Not the topic of conversation today. So went and looked at it, and our accounts payable had actually gone up $2,000 in the last 6 months. And I went, hold the fuck on.
Yeah.
That does not make sense at all. How in God's name do I owe more money than I used to, making more money than I ever have, and keeping it, and intentionally paying off people that need to be paid off? And that's when we realized that our accountants had billed us about $28,000, but we'd already paid $4,000
in a 6-month span.
Which,
so, for reference,
very expensive.
Is not
practical unless
usual.
You're a several $million-dollar company. And even then, it seems pretty unreasonable. But at that point, you may have like a CFO who's getting paid $100,000 a year or more, whatever. Right? Like they get a percentage.
But as a two-people company.
But as a two-people company where we're making like $500,000 a year, very, very expensive and unreasonable. Right? They're accounting for roughly 10% of our income. And again, 6-month period, $28,000, $250. They're at about 10%, like 12% of our income. Top line revenue, which is equal to our profit at that point. Insane. Should not happen. So we look at that, and we have a monthly meeting set up with John where we go over the P&L as well. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like just seeing a glaring red issue and freaking out about it, because I've had a habit of that in the past, albeit I'm not always wrong with that. But again, John saw it and was like, what the flying fuck is that?
Yeah.
I don't know that was his exact verbiage, but knows the general gist of it.
Flagged it for our
for the
review.
red flag, and was like, that's not okay. you need to have a conversation with them.
To which we then also brought the numbers and the deliverables to our business
You can do
coach.
that, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
do
going
that.
chronological in the
Yeah.
story. I will let you continue,
So
my dude.
we went through and kind of brought it up to our accountants like, hey, this seems unreasonably high. What the fuck is going on? Right? And they didn't really do much to amend it. They were just like, well, that is what it is. Um, and I have opinions on why and how that happened, not relevant to the story, and so we're not going to air that. But we're like, hey, what's going on there? That's not really cool. And then we met with them weekly, and pretty much every week we're like, hey, like just kind of looking into things. We were,
Asked for further detail on
yeah,
the
we
invoices.
were paying them about $2,000 a month. They were billing us about $2,400 a month or more on average. So like mathematically, right? If I'm paying them this and they're charging me this, I never
There was
catch up,
no way to get
right?
ahead.
Like there's absolutely no way to catch that bill. And so it took a little while. We then showed it all to our business coach, who's action coach of Central Texas. They are fucking awesome as well. If you're not working with them, you should be. Uh, just stellar. A lot of the reason that we're profitable and able to grow in the way that we are is through the training that they've done with us. So again, phenomenal, well worthwhile. You should look them up and ideally work with them.
I'll tag them too.
Um, but went through and we're working with them, and they're like, "Yeah, these are red flags. You should try to like correct that. Have a conversation with them, see what happened. Like, see if you can resolve this amicably, negotiate, and then continue with services, but at a lower rate or
now, I do feel it is important to mention that we're starting to ask questions, which brought us back to our original contract, and that's where that was really the key to navigating this entire situation. Was the contract that we signed had their hourly rate, and then when it came to in the invoicing paragraph in the contract, it said hours will be presented for approval before invoicing.
Yeah.
And that was really the phrase that we took to the table to negotiate with. Was we were never presented with hours for approval before invoicing.
You just skipped like half the good parts of the story.
I'm sorry.
But in either case, that's the end of this for the most part. But we went through, talked to our business coach, and pretty much everybody that we talked to was like, you don't really owe them fucking shit because of everything she just mentioned, where you signed an agreement, and this is why having it in writing is so very fucking important. Like, first of all, as electricians, and you're an electrical contractor, the reason you're a contractor is because you deal with contracts, right? So learn how to read them, learn how to make it happen. Make sure that you have very clear and very specific languaging in there. Do not have ambiguity. Ambiguity will kill you. But very clear languaging, because of the ambiguity that our accountant, bookkeeper, lawyer, ironically, had in their contract, we were able to negotiate a lot of it and basically tell them, like, I'm going to pay you this. And they didn't really have a leg to stand on. So we got to pay them about $10,000 of the 28 that they had. We'd already paid them for. So we paid about 50% of what they wanted, basically as like this is the value that you provided to my company. I'm not going to discredit that in any way, shape, or form, although I could have. And instead, I'm going to pay you what I see is due to you, but not any more, because the work that you did was not valuable or helpful to the business and incredibly expensive.
It was not as it should not have been as expensive as it was.
No.
Now there were
again, expensive, not valuable, right? Because our business coaching is less expensive than that, but way more valuable. Like I would legitimately pay them more money.
So there were a lot of lessons.
So valuable.
There were a lot of lessons we learned throughout this. I would say the first being really vetting out your partners, your contractors that you decide to work with. And when we started a relationship with this accounting team, it was really in our hour of need.
At that low point after we let everybody go.
Right after we let everyone go. And I mean, the way that the relationship started was they called us up and said, you guys need help. And I said, yeah, I do, but I can't afford help. And they said, listen, we're going to help you out and we'll get paid when the time is right.
Yeah, which they
So
were incredibly grateful for that, and I
very
appreciate
gracious
it
on their end. We're very
a
thankful
lot.
on our end.
But
So,
they
the
didn't.
first lesson being, no matter what the circumstances, make sure that you are appropriately vetting your partners.
Vet it correctly and have a checklist for how you vet it. Also, don't rebound like emotionally when like shit's just god awful terrible. That's where the checklist comes in, and like make that checklist when you are like high, basically. Like when you're winning, make the checklist for when you're losing.
Yeah.
Right, because like you're already up here and you're like, fuck that, I would never settle for this bullshit. But when you're losing, you're like, I will kill somebody for
anything.
you.
Yeah.
Literally whatever you need, I got you, bitch. And so like set the standard when you're winning because your standards are so much higher, and then enforce them when you're losing.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be winning and losing at different stages. But set the standard for when you're winning.
I would say second lesson in that situation was get it in writing.
Yeah.
Get everything
so
in writing.
Thankful that Andy made us do that. Like so incredibly thankful, because at first it was just kind of like an whatever verbal contract sign up sort of, and I'm so happy that we got that in writing, because that's what allowed us to not pay about $14,000, which is a lot of fucking money. Yeah, and so it was a long. It was a lot that we got to go back and forth with, which is fun because we were trying to find something that was amicable and logical, and eventually we just were like, I'm going to pay you this amount of money and you can take it or leave it. And that's what eventually settled it, because before that we were trying to be sort of in the weeds and nice and amicable about it, and they did not. They also did their math wrong on several things and they corrected it. But
so I think
totally
that leads into the third lesson being the business comes before your feelings.
Yeah.
And that one's
Fuck
a
your
harder
feelings, stick to the plan.
Yeah. That's a harder pill for me to swallow than I think for you. Or different.
I think it's different. I think that I've just trained more into the like feelings come second. Like, not that you need to negate them, but they cannot be like the leading thing that creates the decision, right? Because creating or making an emotional decision usually ends up fucked.
Yeah.
And so like having that checklist to where it is logical and you can remove as much of the emotion out of it as possible is very, very worthwhile.
But to be completely transparent, we were both having the shittiest time trying to figure out how to negotiate this.
Yeah.
And like when we're sending these emails saying, I do not plan on paying for all of your services, I'm like sweating and seeing lights and like having hot flashes almost. I mean, like it was a very strenuous experience.
Yeah.
But all towards the point to get the business to work better, to work faster, stronger. Having all of those emotions about this situation, perfectly valid, can't let them impact how you are conducting yourself in the workplace.
Yeah. Well, and again, the business isn't there to solve your personal failings in any way, shape, or form, right? Like the business isn't going to create the growth for you. The business is there for one purpose, and that is to provide value to your customers.
Yeah.
Right. And whether you feel like dog shit or you had the worst fucking week that week or whatever, that cannot impact the business. Right now, there's a certain level of like it is going to impact the business because you are a human and that is going to bleed through. As best as we'd like it, we're not fucking robots. But like the business is not there to solve your personal shortcomings. The business is there to create value, and you are able to gather resources through that and then solve your own personal shortcomings with said resources. But yeah, honestly, Jessie did a phenomenal job with that, regardless of wanting to. Where like we ended up settling for $10,000 via an email.
I keep hitting the table and it shakes the whole dang thing.
You guys want to like go for a roller coaster ride? But we agreed to settle for $10,000, like pay them, and they were like, "Yeah, that's fine as long as it hits our account today." And this was at 11:30
in the morning.
And so I wouldn't have been negotiating this at 11:30 at night.
Yeah,
Don't negotiate shit that late. Fuck them. business hours.
Bad things always happen in the nighttime.
Bad things happen. Everybody has like a different metric. I'm a firm believer at like 10:30, it ain't fucking worth it. I think that number gets shorter as you get older, but like 10:30, probably not worth it. But in other case, they were like, yeah, as long as the money hits our account today, which I think that they were kind of hoping that we wouldn't be as actionable as what we were.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. Again, that's completely speculation, and I cannot speak to it accurately. But Jessie was sitting there like, man, I don't really want to. I'm like, and like kind of freaking out. I was like, no, we don't have the luxury of time on this. Right? We did. We no longer have the luxury of time. The agreed upon thing is that we get this done today.
So make it fucking happen.
So I don't care if you need to have a panic attack in the middle of fucking wiring the money. You do the thing, right? You execute on what needs to be executed, and then you deal with your fucking feelings afterwards. And I think that I just got to grow up with more of that, partially because I was in a big family, and like you don't have the luxury of everybody getting to feel their feelings because nothing would fucking get done. And partially with wrestling, where like the whole sport of wrestling is like, hey, go stress your entire body out in the worst way humanly possible, while usually being dehydrated and malnourished, and execute at a good level.
Yeah.
And so like I just had more training inside of that. Fuck your feelings and do the thing.
Yeah. But we did it.
We did it. Mission accomplished. That's done. We found a new bookkeeper / accountant who is much more reasonably priced, and ideally will execute at a much higher level. Jessie vetted all of these and did several interviews.
I sat down with about 5 different bookkeepers, and they all had different offerings, and was able to get everybody's pricing package and services package, and kind of sit down and compare them and make the best decision for our business, which is what should have happened.
What should have happened the first time.
But when we hired the first time,
we didn't know, and that's part of the learning and growth that comes with this journey. The second, just oh so fun major challenge of March.
You thought that was it?
Yeah, that was it.
There's more in April.
But wait, there's more. March, April,
dude.
I don't know.
One it's of the May. Months.
Cool. Yep, in April. We bought a shitty van to start this company. I do not regret that decision in any way, shape, or form.
It was about $5,000 or $6,000. It was a 2003, right?
Not the one. I mean, yes, we did buy a 2003, and it was about $6,500, but we sold that one. Oh. This was the 2010.
Oh, this was still 2010. We're living in 2026. I mean, it was an ancient shit box. If you ever, this is something we learned. There are no lightly used service vans for sale. It's either a brand new service van or it's a piece of shit. Yes. And we could afford the piece of shit.
Or you know somebody, private party, who's like upgrading their fleet and willing to sell you one, but it's still probably a piece of shit because they're upgrading for a reason, because they also have a business to run. Unless they just like were going for the largest tax dodge ever.
So yeah, we bought this van because it's what we could afford. It had a big old dent in the side of it that we like hammered it out, spray painted it, put our logo on the side, and we said, got a service truck, kick ass.
I bought it for $7,200 at the time, and even right now, the average service van sells for about $10,000 to $12,000, right? So that was about $3,000 to $5,000 cheaper than any other shit box I could find, because that was the price of shit boxes with similar miles. Actually, this one had lower mileage than the other ones. We got it, like stole the thing. It was impressive. Basically, we didn't actually steal it. That would be unlawful and stupid. I'm not. Yeah, but I mean, we almost did. The credit card didn't process properly, so it wasn't our fault. We did pay them. But went through, had it for about a year. It, being a shit box, had a bunch of mechanical problems, and we fixed them.
It was about every month we had almost a $1,000 to $2,000 repair bill on it.
Yeah, and it had a knock pretty much from the time that I bought it. I just didn't realize that that's what it was. I was just like, I don't know, it makes funny noises. It's a shit box. It is what it is. So we went through, and in April, the transmission shit the bed. which was super fun. It was like in the middle of the day on a Friday.
So
And so I
we
had to
get it
drive that
into our
out to
mechanic.
mechanic.
They were very kind and diligent. You want to get that, baby?
No, she's gonna do that in here. It's gonna be louder.
Okay, well, you want to give her a pacifier?
You go do that, and I'll tell the story because I was the one who was actually there. So, in other case, driving between jobs / material runs, and you probably don't want to bring that mic with you. Okay, but driving between jobs and material runs and stuff like that, and was on my way back up to the job, and it started like massive loss of power, very clearly slipping. Like I legitimately like hit the brakes, felt the transmission hit, and then it rolled forward 3 feet. Not ideal. So I was like, that's probably not great. Brought it in. They're like, yeah, your transmission's fucked. So we had to get that repaired. And then they're like, by the way, you've also got a like your header gasket is leaking oil pretty bad, which it is what it is. And I was like, okay, cool. How much longer do you think that I could have this vehicle given everything? Like obviously we need to get the transmission fixed because I can't get a new vehicle in time to make this happen. I need to go finish jobs. I have got work to do. And so we got the transmission fixed. We ended up renting a vehicle for about the week while they were fixing it. And total bill on that was about $8,000 or $9,000. We were like, okay, whatever. The business was able to handle it. Got the transmission done. I was like, sweet. Now we've got a new transmission in this van. Let's go kill it. And about 2 weeks later,
About 2 weeks, yeah.
We were driving from South Austin up north, and the engine shit the bed. The neck got so much worse, I lost almost complete power. It was also a massive rainstorm, so I couldn't even really hear whether or not the engine was fucked. It was. But went through and was like, okay, massive loss of power. Hopefully it's something simple like the, spark plugs or whatever. Like there's some misfire that it's going to be a simple fix. It's going to be $1,000, whatever. It is what it is, right? And so drove it, got it back home, and then the next morning I was like, I don't think that we should drive this over to the mechanic in case it is something simple. We don't want to exasperate it.
So we got it towed. And we didn't even hear back what the verdict was, but we already went to the auto dealership because we knew it wasn't going to be good.
We didn't know for sure, but we wanted to have a game plan in place if it was shit, right? Which we were right to do. And so we went and bought a brand new van, which is actually probably going to be less expensive than the shit box that we had.
We were able to do 0% or $0 down, and I think our lease, or it's not a lease, we're financing it. I think it doesn't start until 60 days. So cash flow wise,
45
makes a lot more sense. Yeah. I think we're going to pay like $1,200 a month into the financing to have this vehicle, which is less than what we were paying in repair bills for the shit box.
Yeah.
And the longevity we have for this new vehicle is considerable, and the warranty, like you said, is
we've got the extended warranty, so we've got up to 100,000 miles on it and all sorts of shit. They're going to cover basically everything, bumper to bumper. Theoretically, we'll see if that stands true. We'll keep you up to date. Maybe Ford will fuck us. But realistically, we just need to read the contract and see if it's actually worthwhile. I think it's going to be, at least for some of those like nitpicky, stupid things.
So yeah, our van crapped out on us, and we had to go buy a new one.
Which also was not fun because we were there for like 7 hours because they were stupid busy. I fucking hate buying vehicles.
But yeah, had that happened to us
6 months
ago,
we would have figured it out.
But it wouldn't have been pretty. It would have come. I think the difference is had this happened 6 months ago, we would have been on a business. Had this happened 6 months ago, it would have come from a place of desperation, which was where a lot of our fuck ups came from.
Yeah,
was a place of desperation. That's why we hired too soon, because you had a herniated disc in your back. That's why we got the shitbox van, because we couldn't do anything else. I don't regret that
decision in any way, shape, or form. No. Our credit was dog shit. We had no money.
But we hired the accounting team out of desperation too. I mean, that place of desperation breeds poor decision making.
Yeah, well, and quick desperation, right? Because like I'm a firm believer that desperation can absolutely build incredibly awesome innovations, right? Innovation comes from desperation, but because you invented something, not because you just made a rash decision.
Yeah.
And so, like, even when you're desperate, unless the decision is truly time sensitive, which very, very few of them fucking are, like, sleep on it, give yourself a 24-hour or 36-hour window before you can, like, actually make that decision. I mean, like, and again, thankful for John. He's a fucking animal. He has saved us a lot of money from us just being, like, um,
susceptible to
well, I was gonna say just
sales
like,
pitches.
well, that's a lot more you than me,
Yeah, I know, but
but
you still
just like uh, kind of
spontaneity.
just spontaneous decisions. But like, I don't remember. I can't think of it. It starts with an M. Impulsive. There we go. It didn't start with an
That
M.
didn't
That
start
starts
with
with
an
an I.
M.
M. I don't know. Kind of hard to believe English is my first language. Uh,
And
and only.
only.
I don't know. I also speak bad English, and I got that one down.
Ooh.
But he's helped us not make impulsive decisions on more than one occasion, and it has saved us a fuck ton of money. Well, probably not a fuck ton, but at least a shit ton. And like we are very, very thankful for him. But like he's a really good checks and balance that we have when we're creating these decision frameworks. And like we use him as a sounding board to be like, hey dude, is this fucking retarded? And then he's like, fucking probably, dude. Not his exact verbiage, but like, yeah, he still is like, yeah, that's not smart. Like, why
I
are you
think
gonna
I
do
would add
that?
that to another lesson learned from the whole situation is create a system of checks and balances.
Yeah, and get an unbiased party in there too, for the most part, where they're like, yeah, dude, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, fuck your emotions. I have none of those same emotions for this, right? It's that decision's dumb. Why are you gonna make it?
Yeah.
Right? Unless you can defend it to me, it doesn't make sense. But he is also one of the large advocates and like one of the big reasons that we let everybody go when we did, because we went and looked at the numbers and she was emotionally hung up on it, and I had reached the point of like, yeah, no, this is clearly the route that has to happen if we want to stay in business. And I kind of talked to her about it, and she was like, no, that's fucking dumb, and we can't do that to anybody. And we'd already exhausted most of the other options of like, let's get a loan, let's take ourselves off payroll. We couldn't do that. Let's do all sorts of shit. Not that we didn't want to. It's just like we physically couldn't afford to live if we did that. And if one of us is staying paid, it's going to be me in this business.
I wasn't getting paid at the
Unless,
time.
we have the money in our personal coffer that we can take that. But, like, I've got a family to feed too, and people are going to act in their own personal interests, and I'm not excluded from that in any way, shape, or form. So he helped kind of talk us through that and be like, yeah, no, this is clearly the logical decision. Yeah. So lessons from today are don't make impulsive, stupid decisions because you're desperate. Vet all of the people that you're hiring, and outside contractors and services are still part of that. They're just easier to fire than an employee, but usually
Not
cost more.
and still emotionally challenging when you do have to terminate that relationship.
Yeah, you also probably forget about them just as fast. At least I do. Like I still have them. No, like it's still there, but like it takes a few days and then you're over it because there's enough shit going on.
Business moves fast.
Yep.
And get a kick-ass financial advisor.
Probably John. Although probably John, but we'll let him vet you out. He doesn't work with everybody because some people are stupid. Those are my words, not his. But
and a business coach.
Yeah.
Like action coach.
A solid business coach who's going to keep you accountable to shit and teach you the checks and balances that you need to build a successful business and systematize your shit. Create a system for literally fucking everything. Like, the better systems you have, the better your business is going to grow.
And if I might add, I'm feeling proud right now that we're able to sit here and talk about those are two major things to have occurred during the month of April, and we were still profitable.
Yep.
And we still kept running calls and kicking ass. And actually, we are becoming so, I want to use the word successful. However, I want to put an asterisk by it because when I say success, we're not where we want to be, but we are so much farther than we were. Yeah. So we're becoming so successful that we have now extended an offer to an installer and an admin, and they start in 2 weeks. Yeah. And
actually, like a week.
A week. But I mean, like, God, we were in such a shitty place.
Yeah, there's 6 months ago of growth that's come back from it, and like, I don't know. We've had a few people ask, like, "Hey, are you still doing, running your own company?" And like, I don't know. It's just insane. Like, there's no other option, right? Like, if this company went under tomorrow, which is not going to happen, but if this company went under tomorrow, like, I would start another company literally the next fucking day. Right, because I've got so many more lessons, right? I've got the knowledge, I've got the skills. Why the fuck would I go work for somebody else at this point? And like, just give them all of the skills and knowledge I have at a discount? Like, fuck all that.
Yeah.
But
quitting was never an option.
The only way to fail is to quit.
Even though we were out of money, we were in. I felt like horrible debt. We were in about $46,000 of debt. We had to fire all of our outside contractors, all of our internal team. It went back to just Gabe and I. I was 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
We were like,
took 2 weeks of maternity leave, not because we forced her to do that, but because she's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and then I had shit to do, so I jumped back in.
2 weeks.
I brought my little girl to our business planning, and our business coach Andy goes, "Jessie, why are you here?" And I was like, "I got stuff to do."
Actually, more important, like, crazier than that, we jumped on our business coaching call 2 days after she gave birth, and our business coach was like, "What the? Get the fuck off of this call! Are you guys stupid?" And I don't think we're stupid, but I think we're just a little bit crazy. But yeah, we had shit to do, and we're building something.
But I'm feeling this immense
I'm really proud of us.
Of pride from where we were and where we are today.
The build back is so much fucking stronger, right? And like, we're gonna probably suffer losses and setbacks again in the future. I guarantee.
Right, and this month it was $10,000, and next year it's going to be $50,000, or
hopefully not.
Hopefully not, but there's going to be expensive lessons.
There's going to be $100,000 lesson somewhere down the line, and there's going to be $1 million lesson somewhere down the line if we do our job right. And I'm looking forward to all of those, because that's the ignorance tax that exists in the world.
But we got through this month, yeah. And even though there were some super shitty things that happened, April was great.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what we should do for the next one. Is like, both of us err on the side of optimistic, right? And like, regardless of what my face says, for the most part, because most people say that I just have like a resting asshole face, which is not incorrect. Like, I still have a relatively optimistic outlook on life. I also am fairly positive people are stupid. Completely unrelated. Still a positive outlook on life. But this is getting long-winded for a follow-up, or for the closeout. So, lesson from today is, you only fail if you quit. Everything else is something that you can overcome because you've come this far. And you can find a reason to quit, which means you can find a reason to continue. And you only need one. You don't need 10 reasons to fucking continue to win. Right? Like, every day, like what we say, fucking win. Whether that's I woke up and took a good shit, or I made the most amount of money I've ever made, they both count. Some days the good shit is just the winner, and some days I made $20,000 a day is the winner. And either way they count, because some days you just get kicked in the dick from the moment you wake up, and that's fine. Because tomorrow, either you're gonna have stronger genitalia, or you're gonna know how to dodge it. Ideally the second. But like,
great analogy, Dan.
Thanks. Like, you're gonna win for as long as you want to. And like, that's the real thing here, is like, you're gonna win for as long as you want to. So make it win the way that you want. Like, the rules don't exist. The world is your fucking oyster. Go make shit happen because everything's made up and it's kind of like whose line is it anyway?
And take a moment to be proud of yourself.
Yeah. Especially reflecting on shit where you're like, man, a year ago that would have fucked me up for 3 days. And now we dealt with it in 3 hours and moved the fuck on.
We're kicking ass.
Yeah. Go us.
Y'all go kick ass.
Go win. You only lose if you quit.
Have a great day.